looks at it and feels that it's a case that the fines should begin to accrue, we would notice those property owners and bring them back in front of you for that decision. So we'd let them know that these fines may stop being abated if you vote that way, and we would let them know, and they could come and tell you why they feel that they should be treated one way or another, and you'd ultimately make the decision.
Are your officers prepared to render property owners should be abated?
I would have to defer to the officers on that.
Probably help the board quite a bit.
I think
Yeah, because I think I just understood you to say that we would need to vote on each individual case.
we'd bring back each case to you. We'd notify the property owners. If they showed up, then of course, we'd go through the process, but if they didn't, it would just be probably fairly perfunctory.
Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, then let's revert to swearing in the witnesses. Everybody who's going to testify today needs to stand and be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Everyone who is going to be testifying will all solemnly swear and affirm that you will tell the truth and nothing but the truth before this board on the matter in which you are testifying.
Thank you. All right, then we'll go on to the first case, case 19-002552, Joseph H. Marshall.
Good afternoon, Board. Lawrence Butler, Walton County Code Enforcement Officer. I'll be presenting this case. Is Ms. Nelson here? Did you?
She is not able to make it. She had to take my mother to the hospital. She was in bed. Last minute I got called.
If he can testify that he is her agent, then I don't have a problem.
You're representing her, sir?
Yes, James Marshall.
Marshall. If you remember, we heard this case last month, and there was an issue with notifying Ms. Nelson because she was the registered representative to the estate.
Right.
So I re-notified her. I can go through the entire case again, or we can just breeze through it. Up to you if you want to hear all the details again. I don't know if everybody was here for the last
I
meeting.
think we were all here, right? Yeah.
Mr. Marshall was here and he heard it.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Marshall, do you recall the testimony that the officer gave last time?
Yes, ma'am. I remember everything.
So,
Then,
Appropriate for you to accept his previous testimony into evidence so he can start.
okay, then I'll do that. I'll accept his previous testimony into evidence and listen to what you have to say now.
all right. Kurt, let me.
Number 9.
I added these slides to the presentation, and I was going to start at where I notified Ms. Nelson. So this is the notice of violation I sent to Ms. Nelson. Next slide. This is the delivery confirmation for that notice of violation. Next. This is
For the record, can you state her name? And
Julie Nelson. Her address was 233 Edge Avenue in Valparaiso.
representative of the estate?
Yes, ma'am. If, you go back to slide, what slide are you on now? Go back to slide 3. Okay, on this slide, you can see that the updated information said it was the estate of Joseph Marshall was a grantor, and the grantee was Julie Nelson as personal representative. So that's why I notified her. That was the question last month. Okay, back to slide 30. So this is the notice of hearing with the delivery confirmation. And this is our inspection this morning. If you recall, there was a red Ford truck there.
Chevrolet.
It was a Chevy. It was an extended cab Chevy. Yeah, there was a Ford that was there before, right? Yeah.
I've moved
Okay.
7 vehicles from
Okay.
there.
So some progress has been made. That one vehicle's gone. There's still like a cab of a truck there on the left, a couple other vehicles in the back. Next, please. You see there's an old refrigerator on the porch, and the house, the trailer there, there's a hole in the side of it. Looks like maybe previously an air conditioner or something there, but that's been open for quite a while. Next, please. It's an overall picture of the property, and then the next, that picture actually shows that the grass is overgrown again. My recommendations, I would please find that 204, or first, any questions? Would you like to see any of the previous pictures to refresh what the property looks like?
Can I ask him, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The violations, this was case number 9 in the minutes from the previous meeting, correct? So the violations are stated a little bit differently, but just to clarify, they're the same. No new violations or anything.
I added the dilapidated structure for the mobile home.
Okay.
Since I was re-notifying the property owner.
Right.
I added
yeah, okay,
that in there as
okay.
well. It wasn't initially addressed.
Okay, so was my understanding your findings and recommendations are still the same, or?
Yes, sir, I can reread them just for the record if that.
But no, but it's 70202A, right?
Yes, sir, 70201A1, there's section 702.02A and section 7.02.03A of the Walton Land Development Code. And those are 7.0201A1 is junk and litter prohibited conditions, and 7.02.02A is overgrowth prohibited conditions, and 7.02.03A is dilapidated structures prohibited conditions.
So you're adding .03.
Yes, sir.
I know, I think you stated previously obtain compliance in 30 days or $150 a day until property is brought into compliance. You say there has been some progress, but
Yes, sir, like I said,
although those violations are still present.
the violations are still there, but he has made some progress. He moved, I know, at least one vehicle and maybe more from the back that you can't really see.
Yes, sir, I moved 6 from back there, actually, and I'm still working on it.
There's several vehicles behind in the property that you can't really see from the roadway.
If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, you go ahead, just restate your recommendations as far
Yes,
as
sir.
what you're asking the board to do.
Please find that 204 Indian Woman Road, Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, is located within the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to Chapter 7 of the Walton County Land Development Code. Please find that violations of Section 7.02.01A1, Section 7.02.02A, and Section 7.02.03A of the Walton County Land Development Code do exist on the property. Please find that proper notice of the hearing was given to the respondent. The respondent is to correct the violations within 30 days of the date of this order, and that the respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection of the subject property to verify compliance with this order. that if the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations according to this order, the board assesses a fine of $150 a day until the property is brought into compliance.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll accept his additional testimony into evidence. And do we have any questions for Officer Butler? Hey, Mr. Marshall, you want to talk to us then?
I have a question, Chairman.
Yes, sir, I'm doing all I
Would you,
can.
would you step up here, please? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson, I hear you. Go ahead, ask.
Oh, did you add anything to the complaint since the last meeting?
Yeah, the additional count of 70203A for a dilapidated vehicle, dilapidated structure was added. That wasn't there the first time.
Okay, that's not considered a violation as far as the fine is concerned.
Well,
Couldn't
I
be really
get-
if it hadn't.
I mistyped I didn't want to do $150 per violation. I thought $150 a day.
For all three
Yes, sir.
violations.
Yes, sir.
Is that
I
clear?
just didn't edit that out of the recommendation.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Marshall, would you step up here? Okay, do you want to tell us anything, or what, just ask questions?
I'm working hard as I can to get all that stuff moved. I have to work for a living too, so you lose me only weekends, but I'm doing everything I can. And with the COVID situation, I'm doing it by myself.
How long do you think it'd take you to abate all these violations?
Every time I go out there, I have to find a new set of tires and wheels that'll hold there and drag it up on there. It's been taking over a day per vehicle, but I'm doing all I can.
Well, if we're going to give you some time, what would you suggest is a period of time that you need?
Probably next 30 days, I could probably have majority of it gone. I mean, I don't know about the trailer. I can probably fix it.
That's what he's recommending.
Oh, you would tell us who you are, please? I know who you are, but for the record.
James Marshall. I'm Julie Nelson's brother.
And Joseph Marshall's
My father?
son, yeah.
Yeah, he was my father.
Yep.
State for the record that you are the agent for your sister's.
I am the agent for Julie Nelson, representing the estate of my father, Joseph Marshall.
Due to the emergency of your mother's condition.
Yes, ma'am. My mother had to be took to the hospital. She couldn't make it.
Thank you. We just need.
Okay.
Thank you.
Guys, anybody questions for Mr. Marshall?
I would ask that it be abated because of the CODIS situation, the crisis we're in, and not be fined until the crisis is over.
I think that's what he recommended. His recommendation was 30 days. So.
Is the house,
Wait a minute.
house be occupied in the future?
Sir?
The trailer that's on it currently, that was
It could be occupied, just needs a little bit of repairs. The hole in the wall is saying where the air conditioning unit used to be, somebody decided they needed it worse than me and got it.
but it has plumbing and electric and
Yeah, it has
everything
plumbing
else?
and power could be turned on. It's livable. Needs some work.
It's connect,
I would agree, just, you could either secure the mobile home, like board up that window, or just make sure nobody can go in there easily and, it doesn't have to be torn down, it could be fixed up.
If it's
But
just
that-
secure, he can undilapidate it.
That eliminates the violation?
Yes, sir.
okay, well then,
And you stated 30 days was.
Yes, sir, and that'll give me 4 weekends to work on it. That'll be 8 days. I should be able to get the rest of the vehicles and stuff out of there, and majority of the trash.
Which is why, one of the reasons I asked Officer Butler to restate recommendations, because you said to give them 30 days to come into compliance, right?
Yes, sir.
So you don't mean that retroactively from the last meeting? do
No,
you?
sir,
So
no, sir, from the
today.
date of
Okay.
this order.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Okay, that's what I assumed, so. So it seems like we're in agreement.
any other questions for Mr. Marshall? Okay, here, Jack, you got any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you,
Do you
sir.
accept his testimony?
I will accept it into evidence. And now we'll discuss it among ourselves or listen to a motion.
I move we accept the officer's recommendation. and that the fine, on the fine, it wouldn't go into effect for 30 days
Yeah, we won't have to worry about that till the next meeting.
until the next meeting.
Right, that's what I think we just clarified, that he's got 30 more days before the fine would start, the clock would start.
Yes,
Yes, sir, if I may, 30 days from today, that puts us beyond the notification for the next code board hearing, so it would be January before we could come back to assess and start a fine. So, in essence, it's 2 months, really.
He's making progress.
Christmas.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
got the holiday, yeah, are you okay with that? I mean,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, then, I guess, so you've made the motion?
Yeah, I make the motion that
And
we
is there a
accept.
second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Motion to reflect 60 days rather than 30?
Do we have to
I don't think he has to.
if there's no,
Motion, 60 days.
yes, let's correct it to 60 days then.
Okay, and-
Wait, but then it puts him beyond the
puts
notification
him-
period for the January.
Yeah.
So
What I think what I was trying to explain was 30 days from today's date, that puts him beyond the time to give him proper notification for the December hearing.
Right,
So then the next opportunity to bring him back to the next hearing will be January, and that will be where we decide whether to start fining or not. Because the board has to order the fine to start.
So it just gives him a little extra grace period beyond the,
Correct, it's a grace period
days,
until he can.
which, that's what it's done.
Well, that's in our order. That's in item number 5 of this order. Says if he respondent fails to comply, $150 a day. So we're ordering the fine now.
yeah, if he doesn't come into compliance in 30 days.
Right, we don't have to vote on this again.
Do.
Dang.
We continued it last month, so we haven't voted on it yet, other than to continue it.
Right, so today's the first time we're actually taking a vote. Is that clear?
Are we gonna meet on Wednesdays now, or go back to Thursdays?
We'll get to that one later. I intend to address that, but I thought we'd go through the cases first, and then we'll talk about that.
Okay.
If I may again,
Make it.
we give 30 days for the property owner to come into compliance. If he doesn't come back into compliance, we have to bring him back to here and show you that he is still not in compliance at that time. At that point, you can assess to start the fine.
Right.
The officers cannot just start fining based on what we see. We have to come back and provide evidence that is still not in violation.
Gotcha. Okay, so I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Yes,
No, I'm confused. If we extended 30 days, you're really giving him 60 days because it has to go to January meeting, correct?
Correct.
So if we
Based
give
on
him,
the timeframes, we have to send them a notification to appear we have to give them 10 days.
right, but if we give him 60 days, then that would push him into February?
Right. Because we have to come back and you have to see evidence that he's either in violation or not. in
Unless we
violation.
move our meeting,
Unless the meeting gets moved.
Yeah, unless we change the meeting date to which we're.
well, could we make it 45 days? Would that work?
No, I'd have to look on the calendar.
Okay, just
and
leave it
add
as
that
it
up.
is.
All we're saying is, it puts him beyond it puts us beyond the notification period for the December meeting, which by default is gonna roll it to the January meeting, so he has an extra 3 to whatever
weeks.
plus
Yes, extra
weeks
Right.
to come into compliance, which I'm fine with that. I think we probably all
So
are.
I want to amend the motion then back to 30 days rather than 60 days.
I don't think you I think that's what you motioned in the
No, I
first.
think we did.
It's
All
60.
right, well, in any case, the intent is that he gets 30 days, correct? And that's the
Right.
intent of your second, correct? Okay, then I'm going to call the question. All those, I got to do this individually. Mr. Wilson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Schneider?
Aye.
Aye.
Lovell. Okay, the motion passes. You got it. You understand, Mr. Marshall?
Yep,
You're not confused?
well, yeah, a little.
Okay, somebody will explain it to you.
Bottom line, you got your 30
I think you
days
did fine,
plus.
yeah. You got 30 days plus something.
I'll do all I can, as
All right.
best I can.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on then to case 20001681, John and Pamela Hassell. And who's going to present this? Okay, Mr. Butler.
Good afternoon. Once again, Officer Butler, Walton County Code Enforcement. This is case 20001681. Parcel ID is 29-2 South-42130-00A-0090, which is Lot 9, Block A of Holiday Shores on Shore Drive. The property owners are John and Pamela Hassell. Petty House, P.O. Box 915 Miramar Beach is their mailing address. The land use is residential and the zoning is residential preservation. The violations are land clearing alteration, 1.13.09E and 4.03.0B1, Bay Shoreline Protection Zone. This is a location map. It's Shore Drive is it's the north side of 98, but the south of the bay is right on the bay. The next slide actually zooms out a little bit further. You can see that gives you an idea where.
Yep.
If you, excuse me. No violation. For all areas lying south of the Choctawhatchee Bay and within the South Walton planning area, land clearing permits shall only be issued in conjunction with or as part of an application for building permit, less than minor, or major development plan. Bay Shoreline Protection Zone. No development shall be located within 50 feet landward of the mean high water line of Choctawhatchee Bay and bayous connected directly to the bay, with the exception of boardwalks, public access facilities, and other landward portions of docks, which are otherwise permitted or exempted from permitting under the same applicable regulation. Excuse me. I'll go through the timeline of the investigation. This was reported to by a staff member on March the 2nd. It was for clearing without permits and clearing the Bay Shore Protection Zone. Site inspection confirmed the entire lot was cleared all the way to the seawall. A review of CitizenServe shows no files or plans submitted to the planning department for development of this parcel. I prepared and sent notices of violation to the property owners via certified mail with delivery confirmation requested. 3/12, I posted a copy of the notice of violation to the property. 3/17, reinspection showed more fill dirt had been placed on the property. So 3/18, I requested and was granted permission to place a stop work order on the property. 3/18, I posted a stop work order on the property. 3/24, reinspection confirmed that the notice of violation and stop work order are still in place. No additional activity had taken place. 3/25, I received a call from Jason Frazier of Shiloh Construction. He wanted to know what needs to be done to correct the violations. I explained to him he needed a clearing permit and a restoration plan for the restoration of the Bayshore Protection Zone. March 31st, I received delivery confirmation for the notice of violations. They were dated and signed for on 3/24. April the 1st, I received an email from Alicia Kuhn, stating that she would be submitting a restoration plan on behalf of the property owners. July 21st, my research showed a restoration plan was issued on June the 11th. August the 31st, an additional complaint received stating the property was cleared without permit and has not been restored and is causing massive flooding and erosion to the complainant's property. No silt fence had ever been installed.
Let me interrupt you. So when you say plan was issued, you mean is that on the June 30, or whatever that was, June 30th? Is that?
Yes, sir. June 11th of
11th.
2020 was when
That it was approved? Is that when the plan was approved?
the restoration plan was issued on that date.
What do you mean? You mean the
It was approved
approved?
Yes,
So
sir.
permit
Yes,
for
sir.
the restoration?
for the
Okay,
restoration.
Okay, thank you.
September 15th, site inspection confirmed no erosion control measures were in place on the property. October the 2nd, reinspection confirmed erosion control measures still not have been installed. October 30th, 20, restoration plan required, this is a note from my case file, a restoration plan required all plantings be installed within 60 days of the restoration approval, or prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy if a building permit was issued within 60 days of the restoration approval. The restoration plan further required the property owner to promptly provide erosion control measures if stormwater runoff to neighboring properties or the right-of-way became evident. No building permit has been submitted, no erosion control measures installed, and no plantings have been installed. October 30th, I prepared and mailed notices of hearing to the property owners. November the 6th, I returned a call to Pamela Hassell. She was unaware, she thought that it went on until they got a building. She wasn't aware that she only had 60 days from the approval. So I told her, I explained the process that we'll bring it to the code board and have everything taken care of. November the 10th, I received delivery confirmation for the notice of hearing, and the final inspection showed no change to the property. I did receive an email.
Jason Frazier.
He did send me an email. They have ordered plants, and he did send me a receipt for the plants to do the restoration plan. So that is their plan. I did want to find the property was in violation.
What date was the receipt?
It was
from the 16th, so
it was recent.
16th of October, of November.
I'd like to go through some of the photos and let you, just so you can see what was really going on. This is the initial inspection. You can see that they cleared the whole lot. They brought in fill dirt and built up one side. They installed a culvert. There's the Bay Shore protection zones completely cleared. You can see the seawall there. That's looking back towards Shore Drive. These are the notice of violations that I sent on 3/12/20. This is a tracking number for the NOV sent to John Hassell. Tracking number for the NOV sent to Pamela Hassell, and the delivery confirmation for those two NOVs. This is the posted notice of violation on the property. This is the posted stop work order. This is my reinspection on 3/24 showing the NOV and stop work order still there and nothing else had been done. This is a copy of the restoration plan. I know it's hard to see on there, it was small, but it did say within 60 days of the approval, which the approval day was June 11th. So within 60 days, they either had to have a building permit submitted and approved, or they had to have the restoration plan installed. This is a reinspection on 10/30. And you can see now that some of the vegetation has grown back naturally, but nothing has been planted. These are the notices of hearing. And the tracking number for the notice of hearing sent to John Hassell. And the tracking number for the one sent to Pamela Hassell. And the delivery confirmation for the notices of hearing. And this inspection was this morning. You can see nothing else has been done. And at this time, I'd ask if you had any questions.
I have none. Dave, Chuck? Jack, questions? Okay. We'll listen to the recommendation.
Yes, sir. Please find that Lot 9, Block A, Holiday Shores, Miramar Beach, Florida, is located within an unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to Chapter 7 of the Walton County Land Development Code. Please find that a violation of Sections 1.13.09E and Section 4.03.03B1 of the Walton County Land Development Code does exist on the property. Please find that proper notice of the hearing was given to the respondent. The respondent is to correct the violations within 30 days of the date of this order, and that the respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection of the subject property to verify compliance with this order. That if the respondent fails to comply with above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations according to this order, the board assesses a fine of $250 a day until the property is brought into compliance.
Okay, I'm going to accept Officer Butler's testimony and presentation into evidence. If we have no further questions for him, sir, are you going to address the board?
I met with,
Would you step up here to the podium and tell us your name?
my name is Jason Frazier with Shiloh Construction. We are representing the Hassells here at this meeting today.
Okay.
I met with Officer Butler yesterday, day before yesterday maybe, once this was all brought back to our attention. Once we realized there was still a violation issue, we immediately started proceedings to get the violation dealt with. So we've ordered the plans. Our goal is actually have everything in place in the next 2 weeks once all the plans arrive. So we'll be well in compliance before the end of the 30 days.
And the reason for the delay was that you simply thought that you had more time?
Well, frankly, there's no house plans for the house yet. So for us, it was more out of sight, out of mind, because it has been so long.
Right.
Once we were notified by the Hassells that they had been notified by the board or by code enforcement, we jumped right on it. It wasn't any malicious, purposeful issue. It was just, they're dealing with their house plans, and we haven't been involved since March, really, when they initially talked to us about the deal, and I had contacted Alicia to get the restoration plan in place and all of that, but after that, we just had moved on to other things. But like I said, we had no intention of letting it continue past this point.
Who did the plan? Who did the restoration plan? Do you know?
We contacted Alicia Kuhn to do the restoration plan.
She's a wetland or a landscape architect?
Yeah, I think for the most part, she does most restoration plans Walton County sees.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're the contractor, so you're for the eventual home construction as well as, okay.
Correct.
All right, and so, and you don't see any problem coming in compliance within 30 days, okay.
Not at all.
Any other questions then for Mr.
No,
Frazier?
just, if they do the restoration plan, but the property, they haven't submitted a plan to build anything, does that bring it into compliance?
Yes, sir. They had to either build a house and then restore or.
Restore it. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the Hassell's requested that I appear on their behalf today.
Then I'll accept Mr. Frazier's testimony into evidence.
Last name for the record?
Sure, it's F-R-A-S like Sam, U-R-E.
Okay, thank you for your testimony, and I'll close the public part of the hearing. The only thing I'd say is, hey, they paid for the plan, they must have realized 60 days was part of the plan, or maybe they just never looked at it, but ignorance doesn't always excuse inaction.
Permits are usually pretty clear. I don't see we have an issue.
Sounds like they're gonna come into compliance. Do we punish them for being ignorant of the terms of the plan? I don't see how.
So if they have 30 days before the fine goes into effect, and he can get done in 2 weeks.
Yeah, if we follow,
Okay.
right, if we follow the recommendations, yeah, if we go by the recommendations.
Mr. Wilson, you got any comments? What's it doing, Kurt?
Mr. Wilson, you muted yourself. You'll have to unmute.
Okay, he's been going back and forth with Officer Butler since March, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, is that
But
true?
most of that would be dated anyway, so I don't have any problem following the recommendation.
We spoke earlier in the process, they got the restoration plan, and then when I checked up on it, it just hadn't been installed, so that's why I brought them to the code board.
Okay. Well, then, does somebody want to make the motion to accept the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Or whatever. Okay, I have the
move.
motion,
All right.
Second.
and I have a second. Any further discussion? If not, Mr. Schneider,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mr. Lovell.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Got 30 days to execute the plan. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the third case, case 20-002326. Harry Bryant, you need to take a break? I want to get through at least the front. You're a busy guy, Mr. Butler.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. For the record, Lawrence Butler, Code Enforcement Officer with Walton County, Florida. I'll be presenting case number 20-002326. Parcel ID number is 08-1 South-1902300-004-0010. The address is 46 Loop Circle, Freeport, which is actually the intersection of Highway 20 and Bay Loop, just past Hammock Bay.
The east intersection of Bay Loop and 20,
The west
west
side.
one.
Property owners are Carrie J. Bryant and Gary Bryant. Their mailing address is 167 Woodlawn in Freeport, Florida. The land use is commercial. The zoning is general commercial, and the violations are 1.13.00 for development order approval. This is a screenshot of the property appraiser's map showing the location. It's the big parcel. Code violation, 1.13.00, development approval. Generally, no development activity may be undertaken and no permit may be issued unless the activity and permit, one, has been determined to be in conformance with the technical standards set forth in this code and has been authorized by the issuance of a final development order pursuant to the provisions of this code. Complaint and investigation. 32520, initial complaint received for construction occurring without a building or site plan submitted or approved. Site inspection revealed the property has been cleared. Several loads of fill dirt have been dumped on the property. There was a crew on site erecting a privacy fence. The crew leader, Dusty, gave me Zach Bryant's phone number. 326, I called Mr. Bryant. He told me Mr. Hobbs in the planning department and Linda in the building department both told him he did not need a permit for the work being done on the property. I told him I would verify with them and call him back. I spoke with Devin Hobbs and Linda Alford. Both told me no permit was needed for the fence as long as it meets the setback requirements. Devin agreed the clearing permit would be needed for the clearing and a development order approval will be needed for the fill dirt. 327, I called Mr. Bryant, explaining he needs a clearing permit and approval for the fill dirt. He agreed to contact the planning department on Monday, 3/30/2020, to obtain a clearing permit and approval for the fill dirt. June 23rd, review of citizen served showed no activity in regards to a clearing permit or development order. June 26th, reinspection showed the fill dirt has been spread, a culvert and driveway have been added, a screen has been added to the fence, and the property is being used for RV and boat storage. July the 1st, a discussion with Jason Catalano in the planning department confirmed that a development order will be required for the activity on the property. July the 1st, I prepared and sent a notice of violation to the property owners via certified mail with delivery confirmation requested. July 15th, I received delivery confirmation for NOV with a date of July the 8th. August the 20th, I spoke with Zach Bryant explaining he needed a development order for the activity on his property. He agreed to contact the planning department to complete the requirements for approval. October the 30th, a review of citizen serve showed no applications have been submitted. October 30th, I prepared and mailed notice of hearing to the property owners listed on the property appraiser's website. Notice of hearings were sent via certified mail with delivery confirmation requested. November the 6th, I spoke with Ed Stanford of Core Engineering. He advised me he was hired to complete the development order and will be submitting a pre-app. That pre-app was submitted and it was completed today at, I believe it was at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, yeah. So they did complete the pre-app. My inspection this morning showed that no change in the property. So we'll go through the photos.
Back up the last slide, I'm sorry,
Yes, sir.
the date there. You said review, pre-app submitted on 11/10.
Yes, sir, that's when it was
Submitted.
uploaded to the system. That it was actually scheduled and completed today.
Okay.
So they signed that to, I believe it was Renee, did that pre-app with
So
me.
they had the pre-app today. All right.
Yes, sir. And then the final inspection received no change in the property. And so this is the first day they were putting up the privacy fence, which to me, and according to the planning and building department, looked like it was well within the setbacks and would be okay. The next picture shows a lot of fill dirt being brought in. The next one shows a pile of, I don't know what you call it, it's not quite asphalt, but it's for.
Millings,
That's it, yes, sir.
millings.
And then, the next one shows on June 26th, there's a driveway there, the culvert, you can see a boat in the back. You can see a couple RVs parked there. more RVs from 20. This is the original notice of violation and the delivery confirmation. This was the notice of hearing. This was delivery confirmations for the notice of hearing. And final inspection this morning shows still have the RVs and everything, boats in there. There's a sign on the fence that says Freeport Marina Boaters Club. Another shot from Highway 20. And then I would ask if you had any questions. I would add that they did submit the pre-app. The next step would be to actually submit the application for the development order. They seem to be willing to do that now that we brought them to the board. I don't know if Mr. Stanford had anything he wanted to add or not, or if you had any questions for me.
I have none.
I don't think so.
Okay, then I'll accept your, Mr. Butler's testimony and presentation into evidence.
And speaking with Mr. Carpenter this morning on the phone, Kristen, the planning department manager, and Renee, that they thought this probably would be approved. It was a acceptable use for that zone, and it would get approved for the development order if they follow that process.
And your recommendation again was what?
I haven't read that yet. I was waiting for questions, or did Mr. Stanford have anything he needed to add?
You're not Mr. Stanford, are you? No.
What am I?
Brian,
Brian.
Zach.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
forget. It's been a long day.
It's all right.
Doesn't look
I
like
didn't know
Mr.
if
Stanford
Bryant-
to me.
Well, Mr. Bryant had anything he'd like to say?
No.
No, go ahead, please, tell us the recommendation.
Please find that 46 Loop Circle, Freeport, Florida, is located within the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to the Chapter 7 of the Walton County Land Development Code. Please find that a violation of 1.13.00 of the Walton County Land Development Code does exist on the property. Please find that proper notice of the hearing was given to the respondent. The respondent is ordered to submit an application for a development order to the Walton County Planning Department within 30 days of the date of this order. 30 days because there is a significant amount of things that have to go in with the development order. I have a copy of the pre-app checklist. I didn't have time to put it into the presentation, but if you've seen one, it's quite extensive, so 30 days. If the respondent fails to meet any deadlines of the development order process, or the development order is not approved, the respondent must immediately cease and desist the operation of the RV and boat storage yard and remove all vehicles, boats, and campers and other watercraft within 30 days. The respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection of the subject property to verify compliance with this order. That if the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations, according to this order, board assesses a fine of $250 a day until the property is brought into compliance.
Okay. Do I need to accept that as well into evidence? And I do.
I've got a question. On the long paragraph, whatever one that is, 4, 3, 3, 4, I guess. You said that I can't read it from here, but you said something to the effect that if they're to stop the operations within 30 days, if what?
The goal is for them to complete the development.
Complete the development order, right?
The goal is for them to complete the development order, but if they don't follow through, then they have to cease and desist operating that business there.
So everybody's okay with them operating the business before they get a development order? That's kind of what.
It's been going, we have to let them follow that process of getting a development order.
Is that typical?
Yes, sir.
Where
I
they
mean,
can operate, continue
We've
to operate
identified the
business?
violation, and the correction for the violation
Or
is
after
to
the
give.
fact development order?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So as long as they follow that process, now if it takes longer because of things get backed up in the planning department or whatever, we're not gonna hold them responsible for that.
I'll give you just a second.
But we would like to make sure that they continue each step of the process. And if they fail to meet those deadlines, then we'll shut it down.
Understand this, they have 30 days to get the development order.
No,
No, sir.
submit.
For the
30 days
application.
to submit the application, yes, sir.
And if they fail to do that within 30 days, they have another 30 days to shut it down, basically. Shut the
Correct,
operation.
get all, then remove all the RVs, boats, and all that stuff.
Has the respondent agreed to submit an application for a development order?
Yes, sir, they have agreed. They actually completed the pre-app meeting this morning, or
Okay.
this afternoon, I think it was.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Butler? If not, we're going to listen to Mr. Bryant. Would you step up here, please?
Lawrence.
And you were sworn in, right?
Yes,
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Zachary Bryant, one of the owners of the property.
Okay,
All that Ed asked, my engineer, all he asked was for 4 months, because it takes about 4 months because of the backing up of the planning department. So we requested 4 months to have the development order completely done.
the obvious question is, why did you have to wait until you knew the process?
Not one the person to put blame, but I will put blame on somebody. We got caught up in another development. The engineer dropped the ball on this one to do this minor thing, so he never did the pre-app. I should have followed up with him, but I had some other stuff going on in another development. But also, there was a little confusion. I talked to Mr. Butler. He told me this. I said, dirt and milling is what's got me in violation because the fence and everything was complied. So it got all confused. I was talking with engineers, I was talking contractors, make sure it all got confused. But that's the reason why we went ahead today. And it even got dropped the ball again in October when Ed was supposed to submit it back in October. So now it's on the ball of them of getting it done.
And you feel Mr. Jenkins can,
No, Scott and Ed are broken up now. Ed's on his own.
Stanford,
Yeah,
sorry.
Ed Stanford's on his own.
Okay.
So, yeah, Corps engineers, yeah, I got the confidence in him in doing it. I mean, like I said, he got the pre-app done in 2 weeks, so.
Okay, well, you heard the schedule, right?
Yeah, he just requested 4 months. That's all I know is Ed asked me to request.
But we're only giving you 30 days to go to the next step in the process. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes, sir. As long as the process follows along, nobody has control over what can affect the planning department, how many cases they have, how many applications they have. So we don't feel like we should hold them, the property owner, responsible for the delay or how long it takes the planning process.
But what's to keep it from getting lost in the woodwork?
That's the reason for the 30 days. How did I word it? Yeah, if the respondent fails to meet any deadline, so.
Yeah, my question is though, if he fails to meet the deadline, how do you know that he failed?
That comes from the planning department. They'll let us know. They're gonna put it in the system and he's gotta do it. If he doesn't do it within 30 days.
Then planning will tell you and,
Sure.
well, you guys are you,
Oh, they are.
yeah. All right.
But there is no stopping it now. The pre-app's done. That was the biggest leap, was get the pre-app done. Now it's literally just formalities. And
There are a lot of formalities.
Yes.
Yeah, go that far.
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Bryan? If not, we accept his testimony into evidence, and we'll close the public part of the hearing. And you guys have anything further to add?
Yes, sir. Well, we don't object to 4 months if it takes that long. Like I said, we don't hold the property owners responsible for how long the process takes, as long as that process is moving forward.
Well, I just want to make sure that somebody's following the progress or lack thereof.
Can we do the 30 days and
Well, yeah, but I guess we could keep
Review
bringing
it.
it back, but if somebody's watching out and doesn't feel the need to tell us, then great.
Maybe a recommendation for a motion that might cover all of the concerns that I'm hearing. I think what the county is asking for is 30 days for the property owner to submit the application and begin the process. Failing which, if there's not been that activity taken, then 60 days for them to remove everything from the property. We would ask for a fine of $250 a day after 60 days if they have not submitted the application within 30 days. So that's option A. Option B, if they start the process, the county's not going to do anything. We would be okay with 4 months as long as they're actively pursuing the development order process. So if they take no action, then we'd like to see all of the activity gone in 60 days.
But if they do take the action and submit the application, then they've got 4 months to complete that
Then
application?
the county does not object to having 4 months because we do understand it does take time to go through the process. And what staff will do is we'll just put a tickler on the calendar and we'll keep an eye on it. And if it's not done, then we'll bring it back to you after that 4 months has elapsed.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir,
somebody-
and I'd also like to add that the Citizen Serve program that we use to track all our cases has activities, and whatever the board rules here, I'll put an activity into the case file, and that will alert me when that date pops up, so that I can check on and make sure there's progress.
Okay, great. Okay, somebody out there clever enough to make the motion?
I move what she said.
Yeah, what she said. Yeah.
I can give it another stab. I just want to, okay, as long as the clerk is understanding what I'm saying,
Yeah.
can we just say 30 days for application, failing which 60 days removal of all the vehicles and items stored, $250 per day if those have not taken place.
So move somebody?
That's part
And
one
well,
of the
and then
motion.
part two would be if they have submitted the application within 30 days, then 4 months for them to complete the whole process. So we've kind of got if
Okay.
you submit the application, you got 4 months. If you don't submit the application, you got 60 days.
Georgina, do you have that? Okay, then does somebody want to make that motion?
I'll try.
No, you just have to
I
say,
move,
"I
I
so
move that we
move."
give.
Yeah.
I move that we give the respondent 30 days to make application for the required development order, failing which he has, they have 30 days.
Additional 30 days.
An additional 30 days to cease and desist all current activities. But, what was that? Failing which they would have 30 days to cease and desist. But if they are able to make the application, then they give them additional 3 months.
Yeah. Yes.
An
An
additional
additional
3
3
months to complete the development order process. Right? Or
It seems to me
failing
if
which
we-
fines would be imposed starting at that time.
Okay, before we discuss it, somebody make a second?
Second.
All right, Jack, what were you going to say? Oh.
What was the fine amount?
50 a day.
215.
The fines in either case would be $250 a day.
Okay. Mr. Wilson, what were you going to say?
It seems to me, just backing up a little bit, that the same thing, if he has agreed to make the application for the development order, it's that if we just tabled this recommendation till the next meeting, the same thing would be accomplished, is what we're talking about. We took no action. I'm not sure what we're trying to do here.
I think we're trying to have some kind of leverage to make sure that they do continue and complete the application.
If we continue it, then we're just giving him a free month if
Right.
he doesn't comply.
Right.
He might take 60 days, you know.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like he's gonna do that, but
Well,
he's got a fence up, that's an investment, got an ongoing business. I don't know,
like I said, it's just, I mean, it's leverage to have some assurance that he continues through with what he has committed to in front of the board.
let him know he's facing a stiff fine. If something happens, unforeseen.
Yeah, well, $250 a day gets my attention.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to call the question then. Mr. Wilson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Schneider?
Aye.
Mr. Lovell?
Aye.
And the motion carries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We could do one more and then we'd be halfway through. Well, not quite. Is that all right?
Gentlemen, if we could take a break, because we're going to have to reset anyway for the next
Oh,
officer.
okay. Then we'll take 10 minutes. We'll reconvene here at 3:22. That's when I got out of high school. That was the dismissal time when I went to high school. 3:22 is the big moment in my life.
When it comes around, coming back around.
That would be me.
Ed, you took out the per, in which case, when you have per, but they changed it. Yeah, they changed it though, when they just said $250 a day, period.
Right, I could have sworn I took